We're recording now.
Yeah, now we're
Recording started. Recording started.
now we're good to go.
Nick, how you been? You good?
I've been good. I've been good. I've been busy. Been good. We had our presentation yesterday on the state of digital services, which was really nice. I think a lot of people liked it.
Yeah. Well, is that statistically a lot of people liked it, or you're just perceiving that a lot of people liked it?
Feedback was fantastic.
Good for you.
People are clamoring for more.
Does your family know that you're a professional researcher?
Oh, they don't have a clue what I do.
Okay.
Does any family, do the parents know what people do at this point? Like,
Does anybody really know what time it is?
no, no, not at all.
Chicago.
Not at all.
What are we talking about today, Nick?
Today we're going to go over a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Specialists and generalists.
I just asked you that question into my cup. What do we do?
It was really
Specialists versus generalists?
Specialists v generalists.
Fight.
And it's been going on, it's been raging for years now, right? When was the first time you heard about that? When was the first time you were like, hey, someone out here pounding the table saying you got to go specialize your agents. How long ago was that?
Specialize. It's almost louder than value-based pricing.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I think that
Almost.
they seem to go hand in hand, though, right? Like,
yeah, I could see that.
You hear them together a lot.
This will be a future myth to be busted because nobody's saying it yet, except for this guy. I think AI will finally make value-based pricing viable.
I mean, it's viable now.
That's not what this one's about.
It's viable now. I want to argue with it now, though. It's a real thing.
Come back next week.
But I want it now!
So we're talking generalist versus specialist. Nick, should we toss a coin, or do you have a side you want to land on?
You know what? I think we should flip this up. I think we're probably going to land on the same side on this. So I think it's you and I versus the detractors that are out there.
I think you and I must make a pact.
I think it's a blood pact at this point.
We can make good loving. I got it wrong. Sorry, Michael, and all the Michael Jackson fans. You and I should make a pact. No, never do that again. I apologize. Okay.
That's the intro right there.
All right. So you think we should toss a coin? I'm down.
Yeah. I don't have a coin.
I don't have a coin, but I do have this lovely bureau button, which is no longer within guidelines. So,
logo.
I'll flip it. Are you logo up or logo down?
Logo up.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Are you going to be honest with which way that fell?
Hell no. Okay, it was actually logo down.
Oh, yeah. So which side do you want?
I'm gonna go generalist.
You like a generalist?
I'm gonna go pro generalist.
Okay. Well, I think it's only fair then you start. Why are generalists better in all respects every single time 100% than a specialist? Why do generalists they grow faster, they're better parents, they love their children more, their families like them more? Why?
You are a specialist and I'm a generalist. Mic drop, boom.
But people like me a lot more.
How'd that feel?
People like me, Carl. They do. I'm a nice person.
Here's why I'm landing on the generalist side. Because there are a lot of specialists in trouble right now. Higher ed.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Right? If you're going to focus in on an industry, it's like during the pandemic, hospitality, right? Travel, tourism. Now, at that same time, specialists in government were crushing, specialists in healthcare were crushing. Now, government's in trouble. But there's a friend of mine, he manages mostly bourbon and whiskey brands. Oh, he's lost 3 of his clients because of tariffs.
Yep.
So I think generalists just have a resilience. They have an ability to move. They can be more flexible with who they're working with.
Yeah.
And I am defining specialists and generalists as industry, not as technology or that sort of thing. So if you want to bring that into the loop, I still think it works because they're able to do more with more people. Now, I will say they can do more with different clients, with a variety of clients.
Okay.
I'll also say they have fewer retention issues. Now, I'm just making this one up. But I think,
were you waiting while I was drinking to say that?
I did. I think most designers and developers, most of your real like producers, they want variety. And if you're going to bring them the same work week after week, month after month, year after how many years before they want something different? Sure. They want new tools to play with. They want new problems to solve. Because I think when you are a specialist, you do fall into that cookie cutter approach. Not everybody, but we've been doing higher ed forever. We know this is what higher ed looks like. Well, you know what? That's also what all your competitors in higher ed say. When you're a generalist, you're bringing in other ideas. You've got a fresh perspective that a lot of specialists just aren't going to have because they think they know. Now, I also think there's some problems with being a generalist that specialists are better at, but I don't want to give you those bullets, sir.
I got enough ammo.
I'm
gonna take what you just said.
I got one more. Were you ready to go? Because I got one more.
Do tell.
It also depends on where you are in your life cycle. If you're a younger agency, it's hard to establish that you are a specialist, but you can start off as a generalist and then narrow it down. I just had another mic and I didn't want it to feel left out from the first mic drop.
All right. You ready for the mics to bounce right back up?
As long as they don't hit me in the face yet.
They might. They actually might.
We'll
beat him up with mics.
Go ahead, Nicholas.
That could be really funny.
I'm going to call you Nicholas.
Please do. So the idea that you're going to specialize and that's all you're ever going to do the rest of your life, the rest of your agency's life, and whoever you sell this thing to, they're only going to follow your super niche thing. That's not how it works. Mm-hmm. You have to respond to the market. And when you're a specialist, you have to be hyper aware of what the market is doing. Number one, because you have to tell the people in your niche what is going on in the broader market with them, how it impacts them. That's a big part of what your value is. But you also have to understand when tides are turning against you. Either if it's a tech shift, if you're built on a platform, if you're tying your success to a certain platform, and that platform shifts, you need to be able to reposition your agency and get out of it. So that repositioning exercise isn't something you do once and you forget about. You redo that every few years, roughly, with how quickly tech is changing and how quickly the market is changing in industries. So if you are positioned, this is the luckiest client I ever had, but literally they were a tourism, travel, local web dev shop, marketing shop, right before the pandemic. Maybe in November or December, we wrapped up their reposition into an e-commerce D2C marketplace enabler, because they had that capability in-house and it seemed like it could be better and it seemed like a better path to success for them. So we switched them literally November or December 2019. And that is what, like, yes, that's serendipitous. Yes, that's lucky. Mm-hmm. I had no foresight in that other than it looked like a good path for them. But that's the kind of thing that you have to be able to do. And that's why you build different capabilities, even within a specialized shop. That doesn't mean you don't experiment with other stuff, other industries, other techs, other services. You just don't go out and shout that, hey, we do a laundry list of stuff. We do everything that you could ever do in a digital agency for any kind of person. That's not what it's about.
Mm-mm. Nick, are you comfortable right now?
Yeah, I'm wearing my recovery day flip-flops.
Well, no, you're straddling the fence, and I know that can be uncomfortable.
There's no straddling here.
You said specialists should be generalists. You said specialists need to keep changing, evolving, make sure they have a broad offer.
They do. If you specialized in some nonsense, if you were a specialist in doing, I don't know, images and content for social posts, 2013, you're probably doing real well.
Not so good today.
You're not doing so good today. So you have to evolve with the tech. You have to evolve with the times. You have to evolve how it goes. So it's not a permanent thing. You don't write your specialization in stone. You don't carve it in.
See, and so I was going to say specialist with generalist tendencies is actually where I land. So I think specialists have an easier time closing a deal. Generalists, it just takes longer, right? Because somebody who's talking to a generalist is probably talking to a few generalists. Yeah. And honestly, at that point, it becomes cult of personality. It's
They're
like, who do they
talking to a specialist?
But here's the other thing, right? Look at medicine. We have a general doctor who refers us to specialists, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. The way that I think shops are going to be getting smaller, they're going to be partnering up anyway. Ultimately, you're going to have some form of generalist who's pulling in the specialists, I think, right? That's kind of going on now. But I think ultimately it goes more towards that. I mean, because specialists are just really vulnerable in this market if you're too dialed in. Now, I really appreciate everything that David C. Baker says about positioning. I think positioning is a little different than specialist versus generalist, though, right? That's what you're saying. It doesn't mean it's necessarily everything you're doing.
I don't agree. I think your positioning is your communication of what you do.
Of what you want people to think you do.
Yeah, the value that you can provide. So if you provide value to a certain industry or through a certain service or through a certain technology because you do it more often, that positioning is the communication layer. That's what helps. I'm sorry?
So we're going today, buddy. So
excuse me?
So you look at LinkedIn.
No, I refuse.
No, I understand why I'm saying
non-starter.
But you look at LinkedIn, how many people jumped to becoming AI specialists in terms of their positioning? Mm-hmm. But were they truly specialists in terms of being able to deliver?
No.
That's the difference between positioning and who you really are.
So you could say that about anything, though. A generalist is still going to say, hey, we'll make those social images for you. Please give us the $13 a month that you could possibly part with to do that. And they're going to be scratched up every bark and tree to try to do that.
You think generalists are cheap?
Oh, they have to be.
I'll say they have to be lower cost, but I know a generalist who is raking it in because it's cult of personality.
I know a specialist who's raking it in.
I know what you had for dinner last night because I was outside your window peeking in. I will say you were an amazing cook, man. That stuff looked great.
Oh no, I'm really good. Yeah, I've been practicing for years now.
Well, you should maybe be specialize on one dish and get it right, because you know what? Variety is the spice of. Oh no, I'm sorry. One thing is the spice of life. No, I really do think specializing, at least the perception of specializing, is very important because you can close deals faster. You do have differentiation from generalists, but you're also going to be lumped in with a bunch of specialists if you're in an area that is like higher ed.
You can't just do one thing, and this is perfect. I think it was brought up yesterday where they were like, "Hey, there was a question asking how many nonprofits or how many agencies serve just nonprofits." Mm-hmm. And my response was like, well, there's a lot, especially recently, like over the last few years, that's been a niche that people have really dove into. As the industry becomes more specialized, you have to do something more. You can't just say, I do WordPress sites. That's not a specialty anymore. The goalposts move and they will continue to move.
Yeah. And I agree, because if you're just saying that, then you're just working with the mom and pop restaurant down the street.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You are at that point not charging what a specialist is going to charge. But I'll also say we need to broaden the category of specialists a little bit. So when we were running Engine, we would get hired. We were definitely generalists. We were across so many industries, but we had a unique style. We were very illustrative and we didn't use a lot of photography. So I think people hired us because they like that look, right? You don't see that anymore for the most part, or maybe I'm just not seeing it, but almost everybody is following the same flavor of UX UI. And it's always been a cookie cutter industry in that sense, with a few outliers. What's that?
I blame Bootstrap for that. I don't know if it just coincided with it, but it
That
felt
was a
like once
long
there was
time
this
ago, man.
framework, it was a way long time ago. It was like 2010, maybe
Yeah.
even a little bit before that. I don't know exactly when it launched, but it seemed like web design specifically became super formulaic, and it was driven more by CRO, conversion rate optimization, than it was any
Mhm.
kind of like art. And
Well,
I think we're worse off for it personally.
it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Lovable, right? Have you played around with this?
No, I
Like
haven't messed with it.
putting out SaaS apps, it's like you can direct it, but it's going to give you an initial idea, which is based on what everybody's done,
Yeah,
right?
great.
So you have
That's
to
what we
make
all
it,
want.
yeah, you have to make it a little different. But I think I'm going to land here. I think depending on where you are in your life cycle, I think everybody starts off as a generalist. I think it's totally fine to position yourself as what you want to be so that you can get there. It's like we weren't a standard shop, we were a flash shop. And then we switched overnight and we just started promoting the hell out of standards because nobody else was doing it. So in that sense, we were kind of specializing, but not with anything a client would understand. So I think you have to be early on, you have to be a generalist, even if you identify as a specialist, unless you have a personal reputation that you're bringing to it.
That's 100% it.
So if I have done amazing work in fundraising around the world and I open a fundraising agency, I bring that experience and can promote it and can get that work. But I think specialist is the goal, but you have to be flexible. You can't be so stuck in it that you're not going to be able to handle the market changes, that you're not going to be able to handle the talent changes. Right.
And you do have to be, I said it earlier, you have to be hyper aware about it. You have to be ready to react to those changes, because some platform change, some terms of service change could just come in and wipe you out in a day. And it's weird because you have to balance that fantastic growth that you can get and the higher margins and the higher pricing power and everything that comes with
the optimization too. If you're doing the same type of work, you're able to dial it in. Generalists have to keep learning every time.
Exactly. You have to balance those benefits though with that risk that you could get just wiped out from an industry shift or a platform shift or anything that comes at you out of left field. You have to have other irons in the fire. And that becomes easier to invest in when you have excess profit margins left over because you are growing faster and you are more profitable. It's easier to be a specialist.
I agree.
Especially with research on your side.
Now you're starting to push it a little. But I like the dance. Oh my God.
That's the research dance.
Carmen Miranda's like, who is that?
You don't get that often, but when you do, you know a point was just made.
Yeah. And I know where the source files are, so I'm gonna have fun with that. Well, everybody, I think we've brought it to a close. Have we, Nicholas?
It seems like we hit everything, at least at a high level. It seems like there's more to it, though. There's nuance. I think we're going to be revisiting this topic a little bit.
I think so too, and I think maybe as things do change, like as the market does change, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, it ebbs and flows like everything. So there you go.
Absolutely.
And then everybody will be back. You know, we didn't do Nick. I'm gonna ask Will to rewind this to the very beginning for everybody, real quick. And then we're gonna say, hey, hit like and subscribe.
Please do.
Because we want to keep doing this. We want to keep doing this instead of working.
It's way better.
Please help us. All right, Will, you can take us back to the end now.
But Will, 1x speed. Don't we make them
watch the whole thing again would be awesome. We're recording now.
Yeah, now we're
started. All right, so there you go.
Perfect.
Another show.
We'll see you later. Next 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know what the context is for this.
Yeah, I don't either. We record them, and it's every other week.
Something like that. We'll be here though.
Okay, come back.
Please.
I'm freezing so that he has an end frame. Did that work? You blinked. Oh, just cut the video.
No, I'm gonna keep it recording. So your outro is 10 minutes long. All right, can you say bye for real now, Carl?
Yeah. You ready to do it?
Yeah. Okay. Ready, go.
I couldn't do it.